And one thing that I love about family, and the reason why I take this topic very seriously, is because I've talked to so many men. I've talked to so many individuals where they are struggling right now because they're losing the connections of their family. And now they're experiencing the consequences. They're experiencing, like this one says, that when they begin to pursue success, they forget that when they pursue success the devil's way, the world's way, that it often requires significant time and energy, which then leads to emotional distance from family. This entrepreneur will begin to find themselves emotionally isolated and lonely as they prioritize work over personal connections. It says this can result in a sense of emptiness and a lack of support. A lot of entrepreneurs right now, they look good online. A lot of successful people, they look good online. But when it comes to how they feel when they're in that Bentley or in that Rolls Royce or that Mercedes Benz by themselves, they begin to feel empty. It's because they begin to invest so much of their time, so much of their energy in things that don't create emotional, spiritual, and mental synergy. And now all of a sudden, now they feel empty. See, God wants us to invest in person-to-person relationships. He wants us to invest in our spouses, invest time and energy into our children. Because when we do that, it creates a level of fulfillment. It creates a level of surplus that will then help you be mobilized and energized from that synergy to be able to go out there and make more money, to make more impact. See, you will be able to be blessed on the back end when you put your family on the front end. And when you begin to put your family in the front end and your fellowship with God begins to infuse that, then you will never have to experience this emotional isolation. Because when you neglect time with your family, when you neglect not investing in them, then my friend, you can't reap a return. See, businesses and success cannot give you what a loving wife, loving husband, and loving children can give. It can't do it. A business is not a human. A business is not a person. When God saw that Adam was alone, he didn't give him a business. When he saw that Adam was alone, he didn't give him a ministry. He gave him a woman. He gave him a person. And when you begin to neglect your human to human basic connections, then my friend, you're going to end up being disconnected and feeling empty. Number two, regret and unfulfillment. In the relentless pursuit of success, the entrepreneur may neglect or sacrifice important family moments and relationships. As a result, they may experience deep regret and unfulfillment later in life. The realization that personal achievements do not compensate for the loss of meaningful connection with loved ones can lead to a profound sense of emptiness and disappointment. I've had a couple of men call me and I can hear the tears through the phone because they begin to say, man, I took this job or I took this opportunity and now I'm feeling the regrets of not being there for my children, not being there at their games. And yes, you provided. Yes, they were great providers, but they were great providers one-dimensionally. And a lot of men, especially because I'm speaking from a man's standpoint, will begin to think of provision as one-dimensionally. But my friend, I want to warn you that provision is holistically. You cannot endeavor to believe that you are an amazing husband or an amazing father if you just solely provide financially. There's a lot of kids that I counsel where their fathers are successful and their families are successful, but the father is not emotionally available. The father is not spiritually astute enough, is not spiritually intellectual enough, is not spiritually connected enough to be able to help with the complexities of their theological questions. Or when that child has a thought that they can't quite process all the way through, their father is not there. And then time will pass and you've provided their private schooling, you provided all the things for them, but when it comes to the holistic provision, then you will end up feeling regret because you wasn't there. And how many people right now are forcing their children to be in a vulnerable position with other men, with other people who may not be holy, who may not have the right intentions? And so a lot of people who begin to pursue ambitions and begin to pursue success, they end up having regret. It says, in the relentless pursuit of success, the entrepreneur may neglect or sacrifice important family moments. Listen, the greatest present you can give your loved ones is your presence. The greatest present you can ever give someone in your family is your present. They don't care about your money. They don't care about all that. They care about you being there. And there are certain moments that may not be important to you, but it's very important to them. And anytime you begin to put these things which are beneath their placement and where they should be prioritized, they're going to now create these levels of resentment and unforgiveness and build up these different emotional, mental, and physical holes because you wasn't there to hold them. So what significant moments are you missing right now? Are you in a place where you feel emotionally isolated? Are you in a place where you feel lonely? Are you in a place where you have regret or you feel unfulfilled? It says, as a result, they may experience deep regret and unfulfillment later in life. That's the okie doke by the enemy. The enemy does not love families because families are the bedrock to society. And he definitely attacks the men because the men are the heads of the house, the leaders of the home. And oftentimes selfish ambitions begins to creep in the hearts of men. And men will go out there and try to get the ends and try to make ends meet and try to be successful and try to extend and reach different levels of accomplishments. But the back or the byproduct of that is that you begin to lose your family. You begin to lose what you need to keep you sustained. And so you don't want to get into a place where you have deep regret later or you feel unfulfilled later. There's a lot of men right now who made babies, but they're not fathers. A lot of women right now who are ambitious and selfish ambitions, and they're having deep regrets that they wasn't the mother they should have been. Fathers having deep regret that they wasn't the father they should have been. Husbands that let that good one get away because he focused on how many ways he can get it in different cities, and now all of a sudden he's after titties, and now all of a sudden he has nothing eventually, and all of a sudden now he's lost the love of his life pursuing the lusts of his life. The realization that personal achievements do not compensate. That's what I want you to get the understanding. Personal achievements do not compensate for the loss of meaningful connections. Meaning you can make all the money in the world and you still couldn't afford what a family can give you for free. You can have all the money in the world and you still can't afford what a loving God can give and what a loving family can give. Business, success, money cannot compensate when it comes to losing something that is more priceless and more valuable. That's a warning, because a lot of people think they can pay their way out of certain situations, but you can't pay your way out of something that only God and family can make a way. Number 3, strained relationships and broken bonds. Continuous neglect of family for career ambitions can strain relationships to the point of irreparability. Broken bonds, strained communication, and a lack of emotional connection may lead to long-lasting damage. The entrepreneur may find themselves facing a situation where family members are distant or resentful, making it challenging to rebuild trust and intimacy. How many entrepreneurs under the sound of my voice, high-level executives under the sound of my voice, highly successful people on the sound of my voice, high achieving, high performing individuals right now are straining their relationships in their home to strengthen relationship outside of their home. See, the stronger the bonds in your home will strengthen the bonds outside of your home. The more you strengthen that bond between you and your wife, you and your husband, strengthen those bonds between you and your children, strengthen those bonds between you and God. Those things will begin to be lifelines by which family support, by divine favor, can flow into you and then give favor outside of your home to then strengthen those bonds. But when you begin to strengthen bonds outside of your home, then those bonds are the only cords, pathways, vines that can support you. And those things outside of your home cannot feed your home. But the best thing is to be supported by God, favored by God, supported by family, loved by family. So when you step out of the home, you have core values, you have ethical a soundness of mind, and you're able to handle things. But when you begin to strain these relationships, because family at times can be considerate, family at times can have long suffering. They'll say, "Okay, Dad, cool. Okay, Mom, cool." They'll do that 3 or 4 or 5 times. But after a period of time, when you stop showing up And they begin to get smart enough to realize that your excuses don't make sense to them. And then when you go outside of your home and you begin to choose those things, it strains them. It puts them in compromising situations. It opens the door for the enemy to creep in. It opens the door to get your wife processing thoughts that she was not supposed to be processing. Causing your husband to think about things that he wasn't even trying to think of. Causing your children to compare themselves. Causing your children, I see this in ministry all the time, how pastors and preachers who are ambitious and successful, and then their kids come talk to me talking about that he loved the church more than his own home. Continuous neglect of family for career ambitions can strain relationship to the point of irreparability. That's scary. That there are certain things that will cause it to be irreparable. Do you know God will save you from your sins, my friend? But he won't always save you from the consequences of those sins. That you can actually lose your wife, and no, it don't matter how many prayers you pray, you won't get her back. That you can lose your children, and there's not too many prayers you can pray to get them back, because now you put them in certain predicaments, certain addictions, certain lifestyles that make it very complicated. And since churches are malfunctioning, therefore creating malnourishment, they don't have the spiritual support in these cathedrals or these churches to be able to support them. Now all of a sudden, now they're caught up in the worldwide web of confusion, the worldwide web of looking for identity. All because you didn't stand in your identity and what you should have been identifying yourself as, a father, a mother, a husband, or a wife, or parent. So continuous neglect. There are certain things when we make certain decisions to start a family, we can't neglect. Soon as I made my wife, I can't neglect. The moment I played a part in conceiving my child, I can't neglect. And if you feel like you are going to neglect the wife, neglect the husband, neglect your children, then my friend, don't start a family. Once you start a family, my friend, there is responsibilities for you. There's responsibilities for me. Continuous neglect of family for career ambitions can strain relationship to the point of irreparability, broken bonds, strained communication, and a lack of emotional connection may lead to long-lasting damage. What damage have you done? What damage are you creating? The entrepreneur may find themselves facing a situation where family members are distant or resentful, making it challenging to rebuild trust and intimacy. I wrote here, these outcomes underscore the importance of maintaining a healthy balance between entrepreneurial pursuits and family life. While ambition and success are admirable, it's crucial for entrepreneurs and highly successful people to recognize the significance of nurturing and prioritizing their relationships with family members. Achieving success at the cost of losing family support and connection can result in profound personal and emotional consequences. So this video is designed to save you. For those early entry-level entrepreneurs, execs, ambitious individuals, to get you thinking, like be ambitious while you're single. but when you start a family, you got to begin to put a cap on those ambitions. And for all those people right now who have a wife, who have a husband, who have children, and you struggling with this, man, you got to pay attention, my friend, because the people I talk to, the kids that I coach and counsel, I hear, and it put fear in me to the point to where I ensure that there's certain things installed in the way I do what I do to ensure I don't lose my family.